Yeah, it is. It's fear mongering, and it's panic. They're basically, the government is trying to keep us afraid. And the problem with that is once the government starts using fear to control their people, they're going to have to keep using fear to keep them under control. If the government ever lets the fear subside, if they ever let the people calm down to where they can start thinking again, then it's really going to start falling apart on them. And I think that's what's happening now, because fear is very tiring. Fear burns itself out. And I think people are too tired to be afraid anymore.
And let me add, exactly. Let me add the caveat. Let's not forget, Governor Ridge came out and wrote a book last year admitting that they were issuing the terror alerts and that they were fake, as we said 5-6 years ago. Yourself and myself and many others admitted that the terror alerts were fake for political gain. And they've been caught over and over and over and over and over again doing this.
Yeah, it is. It's all about the manipulation. I mean, they used to be able to wave communists at us, and we'd just pay taxes and send our kids off to die in wars. Then the Cold War was over, and ever since then, there's always going to be a new monster, a war on drugs, a war on terror, a war on carbon dioxide, a war on whatever. They're always going to come up with something new that we're supposed to be afraid of and give them money to protect us from.
And the New York Times also has an opinion article on their website today, Finding the Terrorist Next Door, in which they support a police state, and a term that is used throughout the article as well.
Yeah, no, I've been hearing it. It's just our way of life is over. America we've got to give all the money to the banks and the military. Sorry. But again, we have an elite that's used our government and our military and our tax money to dominate the globe. Of course they're going to rob us too. If they'll kill 1 million plus Iraqis for some weapon sales and oil and for strategic interest of Israel, of course they'll do anything to us. I mean, they see us as just as worthless as they see other people. I appreciate your call, Tim. Mike Rivero, always enjoy our once-a-month visit. Always great going back and forth with you. Very thought-provoking. And we'll talk to you again coming up in a month, God willing.
Thank you very much for having me.
You bet. There goes Mike Rivero, whatreallyhappened.com. I'm Alex Jones of Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.tv, and PrisonPlanet.com. Don't forget our auxiliary websites, Infowars.net, JonesReport.com, and WhatIsTheEndGame.com.
Global meltdowns, massive unemployment, endless wars, a new currency crisis, financially and morally bankrupt. A great and terrible storm is approaching. So what's the best way to get ready? To get prepared for hard times ahead? Introducing Off the Grid News, a weekly newsletter for independent patriots who want practical advice on how to survive and prosper in an increasingly dangerous world. It's the best way to get a black belt in emergency preparedness, survival skills, and off-the-grid living. Off the Grid News is fiercely independent, all about self-reliance, and packed with helpful information on survival gardening, food preparation, alternative energy, herbal medicines, privacy and security, as well as God, gold, and guns, with absolutely no apologies. And the best part? This $100 a year service is now free of charge for our listeners. That's right, free for our listeners who sign up at offthegridnews.com. That's offthegridnews.com. You can sign up for free at offthegridnews.com. Offthegridnews.com.
Making the right decisions is a challenge to investors. Are we going to see economic growth, slide into a recession, or at worst, depression? Hi, Ted Anderson from Midas Resources. We all know when a company acts irresponsibly, divesting ourselves in a move towards safety is prudent. When the market becomes volatile, U.S. Treasuries are a safe haven. But what do you do when the U.S. government overextends itself and spends beyond its means? Many investors are turning toward gold as a common-sense alternative to traditional paper investments. Midas Resources has put together a powerful book titled 10 Reasons to Own Gold, discussing costs, benefits, risks, featuring full-color illustrations, weights, and measures. The book is free and can be yours by calling 800-686-2237. Paper investments are dwarfed by gold's 6,000-year history. Discover how gold may be right for you and your IRA by calling 800-686-2237. Whether buying or it's time for you to sell, the book is free. Call 800-686-2237.
You may be arrested and/or subject to other police action.
Tyranny is here. The grim future foretold in 1984 has become reality.
It really says that the state is God.
The United States is now recognized globally as one of the most oppressive police states on earth. This film conclusively proves the existence of a secret network of FEMA camps, now being expanded nationwide. This documentary exposes how the continuity of government program has established an all-powerful shadow state. Police State 4 chronicles the sickening depths to which our republic has fallen. Prepare to enter the secretive world of emergency dictatorship. Body scanners, sound cameras, citizen spies, stage terror, and cameras on every street corner. It's only the beginning of the New World Order's hellish plan. The police state isn't coming. It's here. Secure your copy today at Infowars.com or see it online in the highest quality at PrisonPlanet.tv.
You worry. You see the signs and worry about the future. You worry about economic turmoil and food shortages. How to be prepared while preserving your sanity. Your answer may be at hand. Author Linda Runyon lived off the land, isolated from civilization. She knows that as long as the sun shines, there will be plenty of free food all over God's green earth. Perhaps the only sane insurance is knowledge of wild edible plants. The cost of learning is minimal. Wild food grows everywhere, and you will see it everywhere. It's every bit organic and more nutritious than our modern diets. Well respected in her field, Linda's approach to teaching this subject includes books, flashcards, and video with an emphasis on health, safety, practicality, and joy. Learn how to identify it, where and when to find it, how to prepare, use, and store it. Go to Linda's website, ofthefield.com, and take advantage of special offers. Or if you're not online, call her 24-hour toll-free order line at 888-51-EAT-FREE. That number again, 888-51-EAT-FREE. A little knowledge makes starvation impossible.
I want to get into how race is truly tribalism and how the globalists use it to control us coming up in the next several segments. But I want to go back to your phone calls here. Dealing with race, all the Arizona law, and I've now had a chance to read it several times, says that the feds won't enforce this law if we pull somebody over for drunk driving or whatever, or we have probable cause that they're illegal aliens. We're going to ask them for their ID, and if they're illegal aliens, we're going to take them into jail. Now, that's what every other country on earth does except for Western Europe and the United States and Canada and Australia, because they want to break down our sovereignty because we're the wealthy countries. We're being robbed by the banking class. But this story out of Chicago and out of Illinois, bill that would effectively prohibit African Americans and Hispanics from buying guns, advances in Illinois General Assembly. See, I don't want to be overrun by foreigners that the globalists control because almost to a man they're voting to take our liberties as a client group of the government. I don't, at the same time, want to see blacks and Hispanics aborting most of their kids. They're human beings. I care about them. I want them to be patriots. I want to wake them up. I want to be able to reach out to them. But with the Latin Americans, because they don't speak English, and because Mexico lost 2 wars with the U.S., they are particularly angry and have been taught to hate this country. That's why it's such a problem. Is that saying all of these people have that view? No. But a large portion do. And you could just go Google Aslan or go to YouTube, and you'll see hundreds of videos of mayors and congressmen and the mayor of L.A., just the most racist stuff you can imagine. Go home, pilgrim. Die, white race. You're scum. You're evil. You need to die. We need to plan a San Diego. It's disgusting. Meanwhile, you don't hear the Hispanic and black leaders criticizing this. No, they're authoring it. Law-abiding African Americans and Hispanics would take it on the chin under a bill now moving through the Illinois General Assembly, sponsored by Representative Harry Osterman, Democrat District 14. It's HB 6123. HB 6123 would prohibit any person or entity from selling a firearm to a so-called street gang member. This prohibition applies even if the individual has passed a Brady law FBI background check. Making a prohibited sale would result in a Class 1 felony charge and possibly jail time for the seller. Although the ISRA supports genuine efforts to curb criminal violence, the organization is strongly opposed to the bill, as the bill's provisions are arbitrary and pose an unreasonable intrusion on the rights of law-abiding Illinois citizens. But the feds are coming in and threatening ATF arrest of gun shops all over the country if they sell to someone missing a finger, because that means they're a bomb maker. No, they got their finger chopped off in a factory or running a combine. Or an engine block fell on their hand working at a shop. I mean, how many craftsmen, how many farmers, ranchers, woodworkers, steel workers, factory workers, carpenters do you know that are missing a finger or two? And we've shown you those training manuals where it's your responsibility not to sell to them and to call us. So, under this bill, it provides racial profiling. And it says, if you're wearing baggy pants or, have tattoos, given the provisions, it says it established no test for determining street gang membership. Given the harsh penalties for violating the proposed law, it is understandable that retailers would shy away from selling firearms to persons whose speech, dress, mannerisms, or taste in music reflect an urban lifestyle. So, this is targeting black people mainly. Don't sell guns to black people. And that's the Democratic Party, the same one in the 1870s who passed laws in the South to not sell guns to black people. Oh, it makes me sick. It just absolutely makes me want to throw up. And just the arrogance, the over-the-topness of this.